What's up, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of the Surf and Sales Podcast. I am Scott Leese, one of the two co-founders and co-hosts of this show, as well as the Surf and Sales Summit, which we are happily sold out this year out in Portugal. We'll be there in about 4 weeks. Check it out at surfandsales.com, and you can see updates on where we are going next year and get on that wait list. And I'm here joined by my good friend and co-host, Richard Harris. What's going on, my man?
I'm good, but I forgot to ask you, I purposely did not bother you for the Buffalo Bills football game because I knew the anxiety you were experiencing.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yep.
I was
Yep.
literally, I was literally, Scott, I know Scott well enough that I might have to send when they lose like a text that just says proof of life, please. Like
Yeah.
that you're still alive. How did you
It's
do?
been.
Before we jump into our guest and everything, how did you do during that game? Oh my God.
I was a miserable wretch.
Yeah.
It's really what it was. It's listen, they were the two best teams, I think, at the
Yeah.
time. And I
Yeah.
knew it was going to be a big game.
Yeah.
I had actually before the season marked this as an L on the schedule. I didn't think
All
that
right.
we'd get the win, but I like our schedule the rest of the way. So I was pretty upset by how bad we were getting beat more
Right.
than the fact that we were losing.
Yeah.
And then just little by little, I kept going, what is happening? Wait a second.
Yeah.
What is happening? What is happening? And I would say this could be potentially controversial amongst Buffalo Bills Mafia, but it might be the second best game I've ever experienced in my whole entire life, surpassed only by the 35-3 deficit against the Houston Oilers in the
Well, there's back in the
playoffs,
day.
which we
Yep.
came back from. I struggle off the top of my head to think of better moments. So it's been a good few days, but I'm a little emotionally exhausted. I'm not going to lie.
And how did Braden handle it? I know.
Well, this is a fun story. So I was in California and they were here in Texas, and I texted them saying, "Can you believe what just happened?" And Braden was like, "What are you
This
talking
is his
about?"
seven. By the way, this is his
It's my 17 year old
17-year-old
son, by the way.
son. Just
Yeah,
like who?
and he was like, "What are you talking about? I went to bed." So he turned it off when it was 40 to 25 and went to bed and got back up out of bed, grabbed his little brother, got him up out of bed, and put the game back on and rewound it to when they stopped, and then watched the end. And then he was, losing his mind. So he had given up. He had given up.
Sounds like his father. So
Oh, I was, I wasn't. I was close, but I was also in
yeah,
California, so it wasn't as late.
fair
I
enough.
was.
Fair
It's a
enough.
lot easier to watch sports, from the West Coast. But,
Yeah, yeah.
anyways, I'm hanging in there. I'm refreshed. We are joined today by one of the legends in sales, one of the legends in sales podcasting, one of the legends of authorship, book writing in sales. I
Hey,
don't know the
thanks,
right
Scott.
word
I never knew
for
you
all
felt
these
that
things.
way about me.
That is
All right.
definitely not Richard Harris. I am talking about the sales hunter, lead sales hunter, sales speaker, sales trainer, and consultant, guy who travels, in his own words, 200 plus days a year on average. Mark Hunter joins us, everybody, today on the Surf and Sales Podcast. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Hey, thanks for having me. And I got to add some commentary onto that Bills game tonight because I was working on a big project. I wanted to watch Sunday Night Football. I could not turn the TV on because I had to get this project done, date driven, client needed it. I get it done. I go to ESPN, see what the score is. Screw it. It's over. I'm going to go to bed.
Oh, you did the same thing as my son.
And you didn't text me, Scott, if you had texted me.
So
You
wait,
did.
did you not know what happened till you woke up the next morning?
I did not know until I woke up the next morning and
Oh
I
my
checked the
goodness.
score, and it was almost like a foregone conclusion. But hey, you know what? There is a sales application to that. There's a
Yes.
sales application to this. If you as a salesperson think the deal is not going to happen, think, oh no, it's dot 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 dot. Don't think that for a moment. The game is
Yeah.
not over until the fat lady sings.
Until
And
it's over, right?
hey,
The power of belief.
the power of belief. If you think about what was going on that Bills sideline, I mean, I'll tell you, amazing. I mean, there's so many applications for that. And yes, I'm glad you said it was the second uh, best Bills win, because if you had taken out the Houston Oilers thing, I mean, come on,
Oh
that
no,
would
no, no, no.
have been
That nothing. The only thing that will take that out will be the day, hopefully while I'm still alive, that we win the Super Bowl. That will be the only
Yeah.
win better than that Oilers win.
I've got a question for you. Which one's going to come first, you or the Vikings?
Oh, I thought Mark was about to say, "What's going to happen
You're
first?
dead.
You dying or the Bills winning?"
I did too. I did too.
Come on, man. I'm
Oh
not going
man,
to throw you under the bus. Does the audience know that you and I finally met about 9 months ago in Torchy's?
they they do
No,
not. Yeah,
I don't know that.
we have known of each other and admired from afar or whatnot, but we only just met in Dallas a little less than a year ago. Yeah,
In
yeah.
Torchy's Taco. And if
Torchy's
you, the
Tacos.
listener, have not been to Torchy's Taco, they're coming everywhere. They're spreading. I was out in California the other day, and they're out in. I saw a sign. Torchy's
Really?
coming soon. Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, you were out in California. I want to dig into this 200 plus days a year travel. How long have you estimate that you've been traveling 200 plus days a year?
You know, I've been back when I was in corporate America. My office was in New York, and I managed the West Coast. And I would literally
Good God.
travel. I would literally do JFK to LAX or SFO once a week, if not twice a week.
Oh my gosh.
Twice a
And
week.
there would be times I would literally, because corporate was in New York, I'd fly out for a call, have to come back for a meeting, turn around, fly back out. I mean, so I've been doing this my whole. In fact, you talk, you're going to be in Portugal. I'm in Italy next week. I'm speaking at a major conference in Italy next week. Um, just
Man,
wandering. I just wander the countryside. You know.
you enjoy it. You don't it's not getting harder on you. You still love going all over the place on somebody else's dime. I suppose that helps as well,
Well, the only thing that really I can't stand is packing. I hate it.
Mm.
I hate packing. I absolutely do. That is. But I I have got traveling down to just such an easy. I mean, no, there's no stress involved, and you know what? The client always knows what my flights are, and I've only missed one engagement that was in Raleigh, North Carolina, because of snow. Raleigh got snow, and
Well,
myself.
listen, don't travel with me, Mark, because I
Yes.
am like kryptonite for smooth
Every
travel.
delay,
Yeah,
every delay
now,
that could
okay,
happen,
yeah.
Scott has run into it.
Now I get delays. I get delays. I get
But
canceled.
you've only had one canceled flight.
No. One gig I didn't
Oh,
get to on
one
time.
gig
One
you
gig. Oh,
missed.
One gig
Okay,
I didn't
okay,
get to on time.
okay.
No. I've had
All right, all right.
I've had plenty of canceled flights. Plenty of canceled flights. But there's always an option. There's always a backup. I mean, I have rented cars and driven 6, 7 hours. There was a
yeah.
deal where I was to speak at 8 a.m. and I had to drive from LaGuardia all the way up to New Hampshire. I got up there literally as the sun was coming up at like 7:05, changed clothes, and I'm speaking at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
I mean, but yeah, no,
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
planes. You find a way to get there, and you do. So yeah, there was
Wow.
one gig I did not make it to on time, and snow in Raleigh.
Yeah. All right. Before we jump further, because I do have to give out a compliment to Vasco, who is our sponsor for the event and the podcast. We appreciate what they're doing. We just had their CEO on, so if you haven't listened to that episode, it's the one right before this one that's dropped. So go check that out. As we dug in deep on some really interesting approaches to founders and founder-led sales and that data that early stage founders need to. I think what was the quote, Scott? Don't over optimize on your last two closed deals as a founder,
Yeah.
right? Wasn't
Yeah.
that like the highlight point?
That's the highlight. That's the highlight.
So,
yeah.
And Vasco actually helps make sure you do that with getting to the data and using some cool AI stuff to figure those things out. So please check out our sponsor, Vasco, VASCO.com. But without further ado, Mark, what is the latest in the sales world? It is September 9th, I think, 10th of 2025. What's different September 10th of 2025 than September 10th of 2024? What's different?
Well, the sales journey is over. The sales journey is done. It truly is the buyer's journey. And, we're seeing this more and more. And I think some salespeople are starting to get the memo. Um, Customers are buying on their time frame. We've talked about this for years, how the customer's further along in the process, et cetera, et cetera. But what's happening is we, the sales community, have to create authentic relationships. And I think this is something that's been really percolating over the last 6 or 8 months. And I think it's really come into, we have to be authentic out there in our relationships. That's why I like the two of you guys, because you're incredibly authentic. Um, salespeople who have commission breath, they're just not being successful anymore.
Mission
Because you gotta be
breath.
authentic. You got to be authentic to understand the customer's journey.
So
That's what you sell to.
let me pick on that for people that maybe struggle with what authenticity means or how they can be authentic. Um, what are one or two examples that a younger seller or mid-level seller who's kind of getting kicked in the teeth right now, maybe for the first time ever, is going through, and they're like, okay, be authentic. What the heck does that mean? How do I be more authentic than I feel like I'm already be?
Well, it starts with don't try to put yourself into somebody else's shoes because you're not. And I'm going to be very basic. If you don't know the answer to it, don't try to just throw out a bunch of crap. Tell them, I don't have the answer to it, but I'm going to get you the answer. I'm going to get back to you. Second, don't sit there and play a game, smoke and mirrors, that you know something that you don't know. I see this all the time with salespeople,
Yeah,
that they will walk in on a sales call pretending they know everything, and they don't know. You may know a few basic pieces of information, but that's it. And that's okay. Be authentic with your customer.
mm,
And it's amazing when you're transparent with them, they will begin opening up with you. But I tell you what, if you want to go in and think you're oh, I'm Scott Leese, I'm Richard Harris, I'm of that caliber of sales skill when you're 6 months into the job, yeah,
yeah. It's
go
almost
ahead.
like you're saying that old adage, fake it till you make it, is gone. That you can't do that anymore.
It,
No?
it, it really it's gone, but it's still there. In other words, it's gone and that you can't fake it, but it's there that you got to be confident. You got to be because you are going in with one premise. Every salesperson has to remember this. You are having a conversation because you seriously are committed to the belief that you can help the customer see and achieve something that they did not think was possible.
Yeah.
That's what your underlying premise is. And the only way that they're going to be able to see and achieve is if they ultimately engage with you. So that's what you're attempting to do. But in order for you to get them to see full value, they've got to understand you, because here's what's fascinating. The customer derives all of their opinions about the company based off their interaction with you. They base it 100% off their interaction with you. So if you're a jerk, guess what? The company's a jerk. And this is why it's so critical that we have to accept the fact of what our role is. And that is to, I want to have a conversation with you to earn the right, the privilege, honor, and respect to be able to come back and talk with you again. If I do that, something good is going to happen. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Scott, what Mark has just said is that you and I are successful in spite of ourselves.
Well, we have known that to be true for quite a while.
just
There's a
just
there's a
confirming.
but there's an interesting distinction. It's like you have to be confident, Mark said.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't feel confident as salespeople, but I have to project confidence anyways. So I could maybe fake that confidence part, but definitely don't try to fake authority or knowledge or understanding, et cetera, et cetera. Mark's nodding his head. Go ahead, Mark.
That's what's absolutely key. You don't fake knowledge. I got to
Yeah.
be confident in believing in yourself, believing that you have the ability and you're going to go in and you're going to listen. I'm going to go in, I'm going to ask questions, I'm going to listen, and I'm confident in who I am in my skin. That Dove soap commercial, be comfortable or comfortable in your own skin. Uh, I don't have all the knowledge. I don't. I don't pretend to have all the knowledge. I don't. I'm sitting across the desk, or I'm on a Zoom call, a Teams call whatever with this customer who's got years and years of experience in this industry, and I'm new. I get that. I get that. Respect them for that, and spend your time asking questions. One of the best sales presentation ever made is a sales presentation never given. Stop and think about that because customers just want a conversation. The confident salesperson is willing to walk in without a presentation because they just got
Preach.
questions to ask.
Yeah.
They are
Preach.
just got
Man.
questions. The non-confident, they walk in, they've got the presentation. Let me show you our 65 locations and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
These are
Yeah.
calling. You want that presentation back.
I feel that way about so many things. I feel that way about running an event, for example.
Yeah.
The person who lacks confidence is trying to control all of the variables, all the moving pieces all over the place. The person who has confidence is just like, it's going to be all right. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there. So
And
where
I may or may not be throwing Richard under the bus with that statement, but
I think
he's
I'm
gotten
better.
much better over the
I
years.
was gonna
Much,
say,
much better over the years.
much better.
Much
Yeah,
better.
yeah. Particularly this year. So here's my question, Mark. And maybe because we live in this world and we swim in this pond regularly, I feel like it's always been this way. But what changed in the last year that makes you realize other people are finally waking up and smelling the coffee, right? Because is it that the buyer can now go in AI stuff instead of Google things? Like, I agree with everything you're saying. I just feel like it's been this way, fake it till you make it really is about your own self-confidence. That the journey is over, so to speak. Like, it's all about the experience someone has. Where do you think that's even coming from, though? Because I feel like it's been that way for a long time.
Well, it has been that way, but something has changed. SEO is dead, and
Right.
it's been replaced by GEO, Generative Engine Optimization. So
Yep.
this changes the customer's ability to garner information about you. They no longer see your home page or your website yet, because they're looking at specific content. Now, that's kind of new in the last 18 months, 12 months in particular. Go back to COVID. Remember when we first got into COVID, everybody had a story. Everybody had a story. How'd you get here? Everybody, those first few months of COVID, we're all talking about what's there. And that's when we began talking a little bit about this being authentic, being real. Okay, so then we come out of COVID and we go back to fake world. We go back to FOMO on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and yada, yada, yada. And now we've seen kind of a collision of the two. And people are saying, wait a minute, I saw that and I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go back to COVID, but there was something, conversations were kind of genuine back then.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get genuine. And I think now what we're seeing is, no, this stuff is just so fakish. I want to have genuine conversations. I want to have real conversations with real people. That's how I'm going to really get the solutions that I'm looking for.
Yeah, I would agree with you. How do we now teach this to the reps, though? How do we, maybe you've already answered. I'm just asking it differently or something. But how do we teach that? Because you can't tell a rep to be authentic, right? Like I just read something the other day where someone was telling their been spending, to your point about GEO and stuff, like I was spending more time on Reddit and some other places to drive that. But I saw someone asking, like, my boss is telling me to go and post really personal stuff on LinkedIn, right? Because he's trying to tell me to be more authentic, but it makes me feel like cringe, right? And and I get it, right? Like I think we've all done enough of the LinkedIn game of like, we know what to do and how to do it, but how do you teach someone authenticity without forcing them to try and become authentic, which is not authenticity, right? So how do we teach this to this next generation that's coming along?
Well, if you stop and think about it, if I'm a 25, 26-year-old, I'm not going to work for a company unless their values and morals line up with mine.
Oh man, I hope a lot of people hear that sentence.
Yes.
Wow,
Right?
that's a good
Right?
one. Yeah, I'm with you. I get it.
They are just not. And you know what? They get it. They get it right. they get it right. In other words, they're not going to work for the paycheck. Mm-mm, mm.
No.
They want to believe that the organization is doing good for mankind. They
Mhm.
want to believe that life is going to be, and that's what, and what's happening is that's beginning to permeate up the food chain, up the food chain. And in fact, it's funny. I just had an conversation exchange with my social media person, and she said, "Mark, I we just don't have enough personal stuff on you." And I go, "I'm a very personal person
Yeah.
in person." Scott, you and I, we broke bread for an hour and we had a great conversation. I'm incredible. But she said, and she knows that about me, but she says it doesn't necessarily come across on social media in who it is that you are. It comes across in your writing, in your books, and so forth, but not in. So yeah, I've got to be more genuine. So here's where I'm going with this. Culture starts at the top. Culture starts at the top. And if you're leading a sales team, you have to be, and you're you're the CRO, you're the VP of sales. You have to be the one who's starting to be personal in what you're posting, what you're commenting on, what you're saying, what you're doing. And where does this start? It's by showing interest in other people. And I tell this of every sales leader. I say, look, if you don't know the personal drivers of each of your salespeople, you don't know your salespeople. Their personal drivers might be the fact that they coach their kids, soccer team, or they're dealing with elderly parents. Their drivers, their motivators might be that they are rebuilding a 67 Camaro, whatever it might be. But if you don't know what those are, you don't know your people. And guess what? That means they probably need to know your motivators, your drivers. What is it about you? We have to create this level of transparency throughout the organization. Now, this makes some HR people cringe. Oh, you can't ask those questions. I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
asking
yeah.
you to ask this question.
Yeah.
I'm not asking that. And I'm not going down this slippery slope of politics and religion, all that sort of stuff. I just want to get to know you. I just want to get to know you.
Yeah.
And it's amazing when we do that. I have found this. The way I communicate with people inside my company is the way I'm going to communicate with my customers. Stop and think about that, right? I mean, how many times have we had a sales manager? I had a sales manager one time. He was late to every sales meeting we had. We had weekly sales meeting. He was always late. So guess what the kind of the culture of the organization been? You can be late to sales calls, no problem.
Too late to
A leader
follow
says,
up with the customer.
One-on-ones.
yes,
One-on-ones was always the
Yeah.
worst, in my opinion. And they showed up
yeah.
late for that.
They
So
show up
Yeah.
late. So what does that mean? Oh, if I'm a few minutes late to this customer call, no big deal. No big deal. Yeah. Excuse me? Hello. So so I've got to create this level of transparency all the way through. And it's not a switch you can flip. It's not because it's emotional.
so what
And
do you think? Right. And again, well, at least two of the three of us mostly swim in the startup world. I don't know how much you swim in that,
yeah.
Mark, these days. Easier to adjust, I believe. My belief is it's easier at a smaller company, even 200, 300, 400 employees, right? You now have the fortune companies, right? Microsoft just came out yesterday, right? 3 days a week back in the office, right? And I think the three of us might sit around and go, all right, well, you're going to be able to pull that off for now because the economy sucks. But as soon as the economy tanks, guess who's leaving? Right? Can you do it? Can you create this transparent authentic culture while forcing people back in the office? Because that's what everybody wants. And I don't think anybody's cracked the code. Right. Let me rephrase that. The leaders want it. The employees probably don't for the most part.
yeah,
Where do you see that? How do you see that at all? And I know that's a big question to ask, and I expect you to have the perfect answer.
no, it's a big question because let's talk about founders. Founders would say, "Hey, you're going to be in the office all the time," because they live at the office. Remember, the company to the founder is their life.
Well,
To the
the
employee,
founding, right? It lives
it's a
in their
job.
head.
It's a
The
job.
office is
Right.
in the founder's head,
Right.
right? So
Right.
it's 24. They think they're in the office 24/7 when they
They
sleep.
are there all the time. Right.
Right.
So now let's back this up. First of all, you're right. Microsoft is probably going to have some turnover, and they said we're going to start it in the Puget Sound area, the Seattle, Redmond, you
Mm-hmm.
know, then they're going to roll it out across the country. And of course, JP Morgan's done this. So many companies have done this. Okay, yeah, it's the shock to the system. I get it. But hey, go back to 2019 and before. And hello, that was the
Yeah.
environment we were all in. Okay, so we went through this shock mode. Now, here's what I found. People at the end of the day don't work for a paycheck. They don't work for a paycheck. They work because they feel valued. Go back to that 25, 26-year-old. You know, they want to know that what they're doing. So if they feel part of an organization, if they feel part of a community, they're going to participate in it. They
But
may find,
you have to feel like you matter one way
Yeah.
or
yes,
another.
yes,
My
yes,
my work matters, great. I matter as a human being, great, even better. Both of those things matter at the same time. Bullseye, I'll run through a brick wall for you,
Right.
right?
without a doubt. I talk about two people in my last book, A Mind for Sales. One of them was a gentleman like that who literally I would walk through a wall for. He was my sales manager. He just created a culture and he incredibly transparent. He cared about me as a person, cared about my family, cared about everybody on the team. We knew him and all this. And but as a result, we would literally, I mean, if it meant an all-nighter to get this ready to go for a client, we would do it. We would do it. We were committed because we knew he was there with us.
I was going to
And
say he was there with you all night long too, right? Not
yes,
only was he there, he was like probably calling any spouse to say, "Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, I'm going to get food in for us. I'm going to sit here and grind this out. Y'all give me the hearts." Like that's what I imagine that leader is like. Because
yeah,
I've
and
been
you
that
look,
leader, and I know
yeah,
Scott has been that leader. It's one of the things that
yeah.
I learned with him when I worked with him was Scott is equally that passionate. He will not ask you to do something he has not done or willing to do himself. Right. I think all
Well,
three of us are that way
yeah.
in that
One of
context.
the techniques, and I learned this from him. He cared about our spouses. He cared about our significant other.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Hey
Mm-hmm.
guys, we're gonna." And I remember him coming in to my office one time. "Hey, we're gonna be here until East midnight. Is Ann gonna be okay with that?"
Yeah.
Ann's my wife.
Yeah.
And I mean, when your boss calls out your wife's name, he said, "Is Ann gonna be okay with that?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And then your wife loves him because I know you're going to go, "Hey, honey, I got to work late, but just so so and so asked if you're going to be
John
okay with it."
asked, right? John
John
asked,
asked, right?
and when we'd get together, a few times a year at different events, he was always incredibly interested in how Anne was doing, you know, and he would tell Anne what Mark was like at work, and
Mm-hmm.
both positives and let a few comments go, like you
Yeah.
really got to tell him to clean up. I mean, but
Right.
it created that personal bond that for the 2 years I worked for John, literally, it changed my life.
Yeah.
Absolutely changed my
Yeah.
So
I
have
think
we
I was just going to, Scott, I'm going to give you a compliment. One of my favorite, one of the favorite, Scott has taught me many things over the 17 years we've known each other. One of my favorites when I first got with you was when you're in sales, if you don't know how to build rapport with someone, but they have kids, ask them about their kids. There's not a
that's the
parent in the
easiest trick
world.
in the book.
It is like, and I just never dawned on me, right? Because we were both
Yeah.
early parents at that stage of our lives, right? But just ask them about and you could say the same about their spouse or significant other or the
The
bills. But when
dog
you
could be
ask,
their dog, even.
yeah, but when it's
Just
the
remember.
kids,
Yeah.
man, people can't shut up, right? And
Yeah.
it's not fake if you show genuine interest in it, because you'll also remember to use that at another time to say, "How is your kid? How did they do? Are they feeling better?" Whatever it is. So I commend you for that. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah. So have we over indexed so far on technology though that we've lost that art or in danger of losing that art of rapport building and knowing somebody? There's a visual
Mm-hmm.
representation of losing because we're relying now on technology to do all of this for us,
Yes,
or we're
we
trying to
we
use
really, I
rely
mean,
on it.
for those of you who weren't watching the video, I picked up my phone and I was texting Scott,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we have over-indexed technology. And I think this is the whole thing that it's just let's have a conversation. Let's just shoot the
Yeah.
breeze. There is nothing wrong with that. There's a line that I used to use, and I used to use a lot. It said, when you get done talking to somebody, if when you walk away, you don't know the color of their eyes, you weren't listening.
Oh,
Mm.
that's really good.
Think about that. Think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
If you don't know the
Yeah.
color, if you don't remember the color of their eyes, you weren't, because again, eye contact is so valuable, so valuable. It's kind of funny. I've got you on my screen here, but I've got to look right at the camera. I want to look at your faces, but I've got to look at the camera. It's eye contact. It's eye contact.
Mm.
Yeah.
And eye contact, and for younger people, that's creepy. That's scary. But I'll tell you what, it's genuine. It's
Hmm.
it's because have you ever talked to somebody who doesn't give you eye contact? I had a boss like that one time.
I
I
was
mean,
that boss for a long time. I
it's
was terrible.
but you want to break down barriers, just listen and give people eye contact.
Okay,
And
so
then whatever
fine.
it is that they say, and this is such a basic sales, this is sales 101, but whatever it is that they say, ask them a follow-up question on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let them own the conversation. See, the
Yep.
confident salesperson will let the customer drive. Whoa, what did he just say? Yeah, yeah, the confident salesperson will let the salesperson drive because they know at the end of the day, the customer is going to be the one that's going to be in charge. They can
So
get the
what?
part
So
wrong.
how? So what are you telling sellers to do who, let's say, they're hearing this advice right now, and they go to one of your, you know, speaking events, and they're all fired up, and they're like, "Man, I think Mark gets it." But in the other ear, they've got a boss and they've got a company that's trying to shove all this technology down their throat and say, I'm exaggerating here, but it's like, don't do anything, just automate everything and just put all these things in place that automates all of the freaking work. And you just, kind of run only the last mile or whatever. And I think people are struggling to find the balance of that, right? How are you trying to guide those folks through this? Because I think a lot of people agree. I agree. We've over indexed too far in technology. Salespeople today don't have the basic skill sets nailed down as well as my generation did. And you probably say the same thing. You know, um, how do you find the balance
Yeah.
in that?
Okay. I'm going to use technology to take care of the masses. I'm going to use technology because, again, if this is the boss I'm working for, this company I'm working for, and they're saying I got to use this tool, go, 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 go. But here's what I found: more becomes more when I do more with less. Let me explain what I mean. Ultimately, it's going to be 5 prospects. It's going to be 10 prospects. Those are the ones that are going to deliver the number for me. And my whole objective is to use this technology, take care of all this stuff out here. But at the end of the day, it's those 5 that I'm zeroing in on. And I'm going to give them so much one-to-one care, so much one-to-one relationship that they're going to wind up becoming the ultimate customer for me. And I think this is where salespeople believe. In fact, I just did a video on this today. We have too big of pipelines. Sales managers are demanding. We have this big giant pipeline. Oh, we got 10,000 leads. Oh, it can't be. That's a sewer
Not
pipe.
real.
It's a sewer
Yeah.
pipe. I want a water tap where I can bring a lead in, where I can reach out to Richard. Richard's qualified. Richard's in my ICP. There's buyer intent. They are ready to make a decision. I want to be able to zero laser in on just Richard. And Scott, you're off here in ozone layer. Well, that's where you are all the time anyway. I'm going to forget about you right now. I'm going to focus in
It's a
on.
haze. Uh,
Yeah.
so no, I agree. So continue with that, right? So Richard's in
Yeah,
the drip, Scott's in the ozone.
yeah. So here's the deal that I'm gonna laser in on just those 4 or 5 leads, those 4 or 5 prospects, those 4 or 5 that are going to absolutely make a difference. In my own business, I have one objective every day, and my staff holds me accountable to it. Is to have 5 conversations a day, 5 conversations a day with people who can either buy for me, are going to buy for me, or can refer me. That's it. That's it. That's it. And we have a ton of automation tools on running in the background. We've got stuff. We're sending out books. We're doing all kinds of stuff. But my sales focus, 5 conversations a day. People who are buying for me, could buy from me or refer me. That's it. And if I do that 25, so that's 25 a week. And I know there are going to be some days I won't hit that. But if I can get to 21 or 22, life is good. Our company's growing and we're having a good time.
And he's doing that while traveling 200 plus
And
days.
I'm doing that
exactly
because again, I'm keeping it simple. It's not
Yeah.
hard. We can screw up a 2-car funeral better than anybody.
That might be the new title. That's the new title.
That's a good
How to screw up a 2-car funeral in sales.
Yeah, and there's a lot of founders out there who let me tell you something. They've smoked a lot of dope, they've jumped a lot of rope, and they've lost a decade along the way, and they think they know the answers, and they don't. It's just being human. Just being human.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. This is
5
good.
conversations a day, Richard.
I'm sitting here because it's funny. I'm sitting here going, God, the weeks when I'm down or I feel like something's going on, I realize I haven't been putting the effort into whatever that lead gen is, whether, oh my God, I'm not writing a blog post. I'm not working on my generative AI. I'm not reaching out to people just to say hello to what Mark says. But as soon as I do that, you know what happens? My pipeline goes up. And it's not even from the fact that I'm talking to those people or doing things. Like, it's just like, it's the karma I'm putting in the world of like positive activity to attract it back in. Like, and I've been having this conversation with myself the last 2 days because I feel like, wow, stuff's not moving all of a sudden. What am I doing? And I realize I'm not doing enough of the other things that will drive that. So I hear it, and I probably needed that kick in the butt today. So thank you.
I'm going to give you I'm going to give you 3 other things that I think you absolutely have to subscribe to. One, I have a referral number. Every week, I'm committed to giving 3 referrals a week to other people. 3 referrals. And I found that if I just I'm not expecting, I give you a referral, you're going to give me one. I could care less. But I've just found that if I throw referrals out, somehow they come back to me. So that's an absolute commitment. 2, I am absolutely committed to a routine. And my routine starts off with I do the same thing every morning. And I'm committed to that routine. Top performing salespeople are committed to a routine, and it starts first thing in the morning. And the third thing is what I call the 10 a.m. rule. The 10 a.m. rule. I want to accomplish something significant before 10 a.m. That's not get up. I'm up long before that. But I want to accomplish something significant before 10 a.m. Why? Because I feel good. If I can just have one good phone call before 10 a.m., I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel great. It jazzes me. Even if my day goes to pot, at least I've had one good phone call.
I love that 10 a.m. rule. I never framed it like that, but I used to schedule when I was a rep, I used to schedule all of my kind of follow-up closing calls, demos, whatever you want to call it, between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m.
You did?
Because, yes, that was my block to demo. The middle part of the day, I didn't demo. I didn't want to get thrown off my rhythm of prospecting. It'd be the beginning of the day or the end of the day between like 4 and 6 p.m. Those are my only 2 blocks to like hold demos and try to close deals. Because to Mark's point, I wanted to go to bed excited to wake up because I thought I could close a deal. I wanted to close a deal before some other people even got into the office. And I wanted to start my day off with a win. So if the rest of the day went to shit, at least it was like, well, at least I closed a deal this morning. Feels like forever ago, but I closed a deal. And the end of the day was blocked to kind of try to pull myself out. If the rest of the day was crap, I could look forward to something at the end of the day. That was it. And the middle part of the day was just prospecting. I never thought of it as this 10 a.m. rule, but as the same kind of concept for me when I was a salesperson. That's great. 10 a.m. rule, everybody.
Sales is a mind game. It's the most difficult sale we'll ever make is the one we make to ourselves, period.
Yeah.
And when we stop believing in ourselves, and I've struggled, I've had some ups and some down periods. And it's one of the things, in fact, right here, I've got a journal right here. Every morning I write down 10 things I'm thankful for. Every morning, 10 things I'm thankful for. I do that every morning. And oh, by the way, those 10 things have to be different.
Oof.
I mean, they can't be from yesterday. You can't still be thankful for yesterday.
But you know what it does? It just shifts your mindset. It just absolutely shifts your mindset. And now I've got this servant mindset.
Man, that's tough. 10 unique things a day. That's 70 unique pieces of gratitude per week.
Yeah.
That is tough. I accept this challenge. I'm going to try to do this starting tomorrow, and I will report back to the both of you.
I want to hear this. Yeah.
This does not sound easy for me.
I mean, you really get down to the nitty gritty, clean underwear. But you know what? But you stop and think about this, because it's easy for salespeople to get down. Oh man, things just no, no, hey, we all have so much to be thankful for. I was a student of Zig Ziglar, and this is a technique I just lifted, from Zig. But Zig, there's always, if you don't like your position in life, move. You're not a tree, you know.
Yeah.
And right out of Zig Ziglar, I don't know if he got it from somebody else, but again, and take Jim Rohn, the line: you become the sum of the five people you associate with the most. Be careful who you choose to hang out with. Sales is a mind game.
Completely. So we got to shift real quick. Mark, like this thing has flown by. I could sit here for another hour doing this with you. But we want to give you a chance to ask us a question if you'd like to, although I think you have all the answers. And first, we also want to just give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Vasco. Please check them out as you're looking to build the pieces you need to know to grow and build your own business from a revenue operations and signals perspective. So please check out Vasco. But Mark, what can we do to help you?
Well, I got a question for you guys. What's the biggest sales challenge you see founders failing to get over?
It's not hard. Scott, you want to go first? I'd be willing to bet it's the same, but
there's just so many different. I'm just trying to pick one. I would say simplification of what the pain is that they solve and how they solve it. Everybody falls in love with their baby and wants to describe all 1 million features and things that it does, and that overwhelms people. People don't have the attention span for it, and half the time they don't care. I use this analogy a lot about the car salesman. If you go to the lot to buy a new car, and the car salesman wants to tell you about every nut, bolt, screw, braking pad, blah 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 blah, and you're not a car buff and you don't care about all that stuff, you're running away. You're like, dude, leave me alone. If that car salesman was like, hey, what are you looking for, Scott? I'm like, well, I'm looking for a white Chevy Tahoe with this thing and, no miles on it. I got like 4 things I care about, dude. How much does it cost? Great. Boom. Done. Let's get out of here. You just made a sale. So the biggest sales problem that I think founders have is they try to over talk, over explain. They can't keep it simple.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to go down the same path too of that they're too in love with what they do, and they're too in love with their own brain and how smart they think they are. I think the piece is that, particularly because we work with so many founders who are tech minded, right? So I think it has to do with how they're wired, that there is mathematics that can apply to sales. Not early. The only math that matters early is just the number of conversations you have. And then can you get better at those conversations? That's about it, right? Yeah. But I've talked to so many founders, and I've talked to 3 founders in the last week. Well, we're about to implement the CRM and this. And I'm like, what do you need a CRM for? You don't even have a customer. Well, we want to track everything. Track what?
Yeah.
There's like, as much as I like CRMs and Scott doesn't, it's like not at that stage, like not necessary. So I think that's probably the same thing that Scott's saying too, is like they're overcomplicating things that should just be simple.
Yeah.
At a high level.
They're totally in love with their baby. They think what they've created is going to bring world peace, solve world hunger, and the earth is going to rotate differently because of them. No.
Because their latest piece of MarTech.
Yeah. Yes.
So we solved it all. Yeah.
And they want to hire their first salesperson as commission only. That's the other
one. Of course.
Right.
Commission only. Why not? That's
right.
That's a whole other wildebeest right there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm working with a company right now that is struggling with that, and I go, guys, the dog don't hunt. Okay, the dog don't hunt.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But
this has been awesome, Mark. It has been wonderful to get to know you better over the last year or so. I appreciate you coming on the show, sharing your knowledge. Everybody got to see and listen to the sales hunter do his thing. If you ever have a chance, by the way, to go listen to Mark speak. Run, don't walk. Check out his books. Follow him on LinkedIn. He's got a bazillion followers for a reason. We
Yes.
appreciate you spending time with us, Mark, and wish you all the best, man.
Thank you so much. Great selling, everybody.
Good to see you, bud.